This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all,
just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you all. We got a full panel here. If you've been outside, you probably noticed it's getting really hot, all right? Tens of millions of Americans are being warned now about a dangerous heat wave. States in the Midwest and in the East are expecting record-breaking temperatures, all that could last all week. Here to help us beat the heat, we've got the one and only Dr. Coley. Dr. Coley, thank you for joining us. And to pull back the curtain, we have some kind of stench coming.
Yeah, we don't know what it is.
Some kind of smell is coming from that. We will figure this out.
Dr. Coley, is it a medical term, whoever smelt it dealt it? What does that say?
We both smelled it. We both at the same.
I heard you complaining earlier, and I got up here and you tried to pin it on me.
No,
it's right
the olfactory offense soon.
It's not.
Okay, Dr. Coley, what's so dangerous about this particular heat wave?
So our bodies are designed to operate at a very tight temperature. And when it goes outside that temperature, especially when the temperatures are hot like they are outside, it can affect our mental health. So there's actually more depression, more substance use during the summer.
Because you're stuck inside too.
Well, and the way you cope with the heat and the humidity, a lot of people, they're not sleeping well, they don't feel well, that they drink more alcohol, which can actually be more dehydrating. And then, of course, as you know, it can affect our physical health. So if we have chronic medical conditions, our kids, our older parents, our pregnant women, they're the highest risk for having complications. And then the heat itself can cause illness. And every single person in this room has actually had heat exhaustion. So heat exhaustion is kind of the first step towards a very dangerous condition called heat stroke and hyperthermia, which can be life-threatening. And it's when we feel a little bit of a headache, we feel tired, we feel kind of nauseous, we feel dizzy. And that's that the heat is getting to us and our body is starting to sort of fall apart because of the heat.
Scary.
And it's really important to cool yourself down if that happens, because if you progress to heat stroke, that is actually a life-threatening emergency, and that's where you get confused and dizzy, you can lose your balance, and again, the older individuals in our life are especially susceptible.
That makes so much sense. I went to a University of Miami game when I was down there in grad school, and one of the guys in my fellowship part, he started babbling and like before halftime, and he passed out. And right there at the Orange Bowl. So
and by the time it's gotten there, it's almost too late.
Right.
So we really have to look for signs in other people to know that it's happening.
Okay, well, Doc, I got to ask you this because everybody's saying, well, stay inside, it's too hot outside, but what if you don't have air conditioning?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in America don't have air conditioning, so there are good old-fashioned ways to actually cool yourself down. So what do you do when you're sitting by the pool? You spritz yourself a little bit.
I spritz myself.
Right? And what does that do? It creates evaporation, which cools your body down from the outside. Okay? What else can you do? Cool yourself down from the inside. Drink ice cold water. So that actually lowers your temperature from the inside. For people that don't have air conditioning, you should actually close out the windows and hang blackout shades so that you don't get a lot of the sunlight coming in. Now, turning on the fan helps, but if it's really hot, actually the fan doesn't change
What about the box fan in the window? Old school.
That can help too. Yeah, especially put a little water in front of it. Yeah, so you can aerosolize that water, and that can actually cool it down. Now, be careful about using too much water, because sometimes they say hang a wet towel by the window, but that can actually increase the humidity. So if you live in a very humid climate, you're actually putting more humidity in the air, which can make the heat feel a little bit hotter as well. Here in Colorado, we don't have as much of an issue, but certainly things you should do to cool yourself down. My favorite thing, go to the mall. Start shopping.
Smart.
Because it's air conditioned.
Yes.
Go see a movie?
Reminds me of my LA days.
Yeah, me too.
Totally. Living in Santa Monica, no air conditioning.
Didn't you have the swamp cooler?
Yeah,
That's what we had.
we didn't. And then Jordan got pregnant, and Big Sexy, my father-in-law, bought us one. He goes, it's way too hot.
It's too hot. Stifling.
But speaking of that, I know it's hard to get a good night's sleep when it is that hot. What's something you could do to cool you down?
Yeah, so don't exercise within a few hours of bedtime, because exercising actually raises your body temperature, especially don't exercise outside. You want to sleep in the coolest room of your house, and you want to start preparing your bedroom like 3 or 4 hours before you go to sleep. And that means opening up the windows, turning on that big box fan, what have you, and just making sure you cool down the temperature as much as possible. Use very light covers. So I like to have a weight on me when I sleep. So I always use like a comforter, which is not what you should be doing in these types of heats. You want to use
just a sheet.
Exactly.
Just a sheet
on top of you.
Cotton, it breathes.
Right. Because at night when you're sleeping, your body temperature regulation can change as well. So you want to make sure you don't cover yourself up too much. And especially our kids. When we put our kids to bed, we're used to putting a blanket on them as well. Want to make sure you keep them light and airy.
Good to know. Okay, so we're going to switch gears here. I'm sure you saw this. Yesterday, the the Surgeon General recommended health warnings on social media for younger users, like they already have with cigarettes. So listen what he had to say about this on the Today Show, and then we want to get your response.
When adolescents spend more than 3 hours a day on social media, we're seeing an association with a doubling of risk of anxiety and depression symptoms, and the average amount of use per day among adolescents is nearly 5 hours. Now, a warning label would help parents to understand these risks. Many parents don't know that those risks exist, and we have data from tobacco warning labels that in fact tells us that they can be helpful in changing awareness and changing behavior.
All right, Dr. Coley, what do you think of this? Will health warnings help deter people, especially younger users? What do you think?
You know, it's interesting. The science has looked at this. And as he said, with tobacco, we had a really nice precedent that told us that first it makes you aware. So a lot of us may not be aware of the risks of social media. So I think putting a label on there certainly helps. And then for some people, it can actually change behavior. But what's interesting is not all labels are created the same. So writing, for example, is not as effective as a
visual,
graphic.
Right.
Yes.
In Europe, they show you like the throat.
But in the here in the
cigarettes,
US,
so
yes,
sorry.
here in
the teeth and the throat.
well, or the lungs.
Yeah.
But here in the U.S., the tobacco companies have lobbied against putting a picture of diseased lungs on there. So really what we should be doing is using more graphics. They need to be more prominent. And there's criticism that people get desensitized to labels if they're there all the time. Sure. And for some people, they actually have reactive behavior. So if I tell you you can't do something, they're potentially more likely to do it. So really the label
I like
helps.
your idea. We need you as Surgeon General. Dr. Coley for Surgeon General.
Coley. All right, I have to ask you real quick. Are these health warnings just for the kids? Should adults, should I be paying attention to these too?
The studies tell us that social media is more addictive than tobacco or marijuana or alcohol.
You guys.
And 26% of Americans feel they spend too much time. So I feel like many of us are addicted. And yes, this warning is not just for kids, it's for us as well.
Yeah.
So anytime you think about scrolling your Instagram feed, you should picture what's happening to your brain when you're actually looking at that Instagram
I think that's
feed.
why we're having trouble stopping the kids, because a lot of parents would have to stop too. And that's the issue. They'd be like, oh, you want me to get off? All right, you too, Mom. And she's like, well, tomorrow we'll start.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Right.
I mean, how many of us have been to a restaurant where everybody's on their device?
Everyone.
Sure.
The adults, the kids, everybody.
Yeah.
Gross.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, I had the same thought, because your parent, you know, the kids nowadays, I want this private school. They only eat organic food. They only do this. But yet, all the warning signs that they're seeing on social media, they're ignoring, and they're on their phone the whole time. So what are they teaching their kids?
Right.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Dr. Coley. DBL Nation, you can follow the doc on social media. That's funny, on social media. But it's in a good social media. At Pyle Coley MD. Also be sure to subscribe to her YouTube page. Plus, check out her podcast, Heart of Medicine, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks again, Doc. Very appreciative. Do you need to say something?
Yeah, what's happening?
What are you doing?
It's weird.
Coming
You're not
up
a
on
doctor.
DBL. Stop waving your finger.
my
Coming up on
gosh.
DBL, JT, Justin Timberlake was arrested for a DWI. Uh-oh. Will his tour be impacted? Crimea River. And we're talking with David Hyde Pierce all about his new horror film. Plus, we will get to the bottom of the smell. Welcome back to DBL. Have y'all heard Justin Timberlake was arrested in the Hamptons? So police in Sag Harbor said he was arrested early this morning, taken into custody for allegedly driving while intoxicated. He was arraigned a few hours ago and released without bail. And TMZ reports he was pulled over after leaving a hotel where he was partying with friends. He allegedly blew through a stop sign and was swerving. No one was hurt. JT is currently on tour and performed in Florida last weekend. He's set to continue his tour in Jeff's hometown of Chi-Town, Chicago, on Friday. What do you think about this arrest? I feel like JT was trying to come back from a little bit of a decline. People were a little over him, the Janet thing, all of that, and now this. Is this going to hurt him? Anyone have a strong feeling?
It's just, listen, for the people out there that maybe have lost somebody to a drunk driver or whatnot, sometimes you hear the excuse, I didn't want to have to pay for an Uber, and maybe those people are from a, it's expensive.
Sure.
There's no excuse, period. But JT has zero excuse. He has all the resources in the world, and we've seen this pattern of behavior of his not being arrested, but with alcohol, right? Him and Jessica Biel went public after that notorious thing in New Orleans where he was holding another woman's hand while, and there's been a lot of rumors about him and his infidelity, but I don't think this is looking good. I hope this is a wake-up call for him.
Yeah,
I do.
What do you think?
I don't know if it's going to be a wake-up call. Look, you've got to hit rock bottom, and it's, he was bailed out pretty quickly, and we all know.
He still spent the night in jail.
I know, but like, by the time this is done, after his lawyers get a hold of it, it's going to get knocked down to driving while distracted or something.
Or reckless driving.
And that's the thing. It's hard for you to learn lessons when you're of means, Jeff, because every time it's time for you to learn a lesson, your rich dad or you can just make it go away. So it's got to come from within, Jeff, and that's the problem. When does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this should be a lesson not to drive. Like Sam said, there's no excuse for this. I get people, you're on tour, you're doing whatever, and we don't know the details. It's all alleged. The media blows everything up. We don't know if he had 1 drink or 100 drinks, right? But I don't think it's going to affect his tour. I think if you like JT, you like JT. If you don't like JT, you don't. But I mean, this should be a lesson because celebrities are examples. And if maybe in the back of people's heads, like if they could do it, I could do it. But they don't have the means like JT does. This is going to get blown out of court. Nothing's going to happen. But hopefully for his wife and his children, he does learn a little bit of a lesson.
I hope so. I really do. Please find an Uber, Lyft, or someone else who is sober. Coming up on DBL. Stick around for today's Deal Blast because we got bargains on bedding and an awesome vacuum I've already stolen.
What?
I'm kidding.
Why do you get all the good stuff?
I didn't take it. Plus, Frasier star David Hyde Pierce reveals if the Crane brothers will ever reunite. It is my favorite show ever. Stay Welcome back. David Hyde Pierce has been a comedic force for decades, but now you can see him in a new horror movie with Russell Crowe called The Exorcism. Earlier, we spoke with him all about whether he believes in the supernatural himself. The answer may surprise you. Take a look.
Please welcome to DBL. We love him, David Hyde Pierce.
Hi, you guys. David, thank you so much for being here. We are all big fans. Let's jump right in because this new Exorcism movie isn't your first horror project, but I want to know before we start, are you a fan of scary movies?
Yes, I love horror. When I was a little boy, I watched the classic old movies like the Universal films of Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman and that kind of stuff, and the silent movie of the Phantom of the Opera, you know, all that really vintage stuff. I loved it, yeah.
And isn't The Exorcism your most scary movie?
It's the scariest, yeah.
For you, Jeff.
For me,
yeah.
For me. The old Exorcism, this one looks just as scary. I don't like it.
It haunts you.
Yeah.
Too scary.
Yeah, The Exorcist. I remember I read the book, The Exorcist, and I was in my mom and dad's house. I was a kid, and they were out, and I was alone, and I finished the book downstairs, and I had to get up to the attic where my bedroom was and turn off every light as I went, and I ran like a jackrabbit up there, turning off the lights as I go, tossed the book out of my hand, dove into the bed, and
oh
under
my
the covers.
gosh.
Hopefully some kid watches the movie and they have the same story with your performance.
That would be great.
That'd be great.
Well, let's talk about you in real life, because have you ever had a supernatural experience, and are you a believer?
I would say that this right now is a supernatural experience.
Like me and you here, or?
Yeah, all of us, the whole gang. It's absolutely supernatural. I've had inklings. It's like when I worked on this, so I play a priest, and in the movie we're making a movie about exorcism. So I got the Catholic ritual of exorcism, and I started reading. And, you know, like you said, the Exorcist movie is so terrifying, and any of us have seen it. You start reading these words, and you think, am I going to get in trouble here? Like, if I turn the page and say that word, is something going to happen? You know, it's easy to say I don't believe, but it's not that easy to actually not wonder.
Yeah, you have to like ask for protection when things like this are happening.
Yeah, it's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. You're like, haha, wait, I'm not going to do it.
Well, Beetlejuice ain't that bad.
Yeah, well, it's kind of bad, scary. All right.
In the theater, we have this thing, I can say it because we're not in a theater, with the Shakespeare's Macbeth.
Made the Shakespeare. That's right.
Say, because so many bad things over the years have happened during productions of that play. You can't say the name, can't say a character's name, can't quote a line from the play. If you do, there's a whole ritual you have to go through, like you said, to like reclaim your space and not be eaten by bears.
I said the Scottish play 2 days ago on stage.
I remember.
I did the spin. I spit. I hope you're proud of me, Mr. Pierce, because it's a theater person thing. Okay, thank you so much.
Back to the supernatural.
Back to that. All right, I have to be the person that asks. I have been a fan of yours for just so years. I'm very starstruck. I'm trying to keep it together. Frasier is, of course, one of my favorite sitcoms. I've actually been pretty outspoken on this show, how the reboot is just not the same without you. Is it possible we'll ever see the Crane brothers reunite?
Anything is possible.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah. The only reason I'm not on that show is that I needed to do other kinds of shows, because I played the character for 11 years, and I needed to do other stuff. So, but, you know, anything could happen.
Excellent. I do also have to say one of my all-time favorite scenes, not just in Frasier, but in television, is the silent opening that you did. And I'm sure you know it. Everyone talks about it with the fire extinguisher, with the ironing. You say no words in it for a full, like, 2-3 I mean, it is.
It's classic.
It is iconic to watch as a physical comedian. Do you have a favorite moment? You are, sorry. Do you have a favorite moment as that character, or was this one of them? God, that's funny.
Oh, God. Well, I'll tell you that, there's so many moments for me, but that was a great opportunity that they gave me to do, I think it was like 13 minutes or something, in pure silent comedy on a sitcom, which, you don't get to see that often. So that was a real gift. And every moment of it, those writers, once they had the idea, I was just spending time with David Lee and Peter Casey, 2 of the creators of the show. They said it took them 45 minutes to write that, in the room with all the writers saying, well, if this happens, then what if this happens? And putting that puzzle together, and then just a blast to get to act it.
DBL Nation, make sure to see The Exorcism in theaters June 21st if you dare.
Good one.
Thank you again. We'll be right back. Thank you, David.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, you guys.
The Caribbean is calling you. This June, we're celebrating Caribbean Heritage Month with Sandals by giving away 2 all-inclusive vacations to any Sandals resort of your choice. Watch DBL every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyglasslab.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night escape for 2. The winner will be announced on DBL June 26. Make memories for a lifetime and start entering for your chance to win a trip to any Sandals resort. Today's word of the day is relaxation.
Welcome back. We've got some great products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out. All right, what do you have for us today, Steph? I'm ready to shop.
Hey, Tori. Hello, DBL Nation. We are so excited to show you the deals today. They're wonderful, so let's go shopping all together and check it out. First up, we have got the Shark Wand Vac System, ultra lightweight, powerful cordless 3-in-1 stick vacuum.
Nice.
This deal includes one vacuum with attachments and a storage charging base. Normally, this is $270. However, we've got it for $129.99, which is saving 52%. Up next, we've got the August and Leo serrated tile print 3-piece cotton comforter set.
That is cute.
The deal includes one comforter and 2 shams. We've got it available in 2 sizes, full queen or king California king. Normally this is $120.
Ooh, no thank you.
We've got it for $39.99. That's saving 67%. And up next, Tori, we've got the 8-pack Miss Spa No Slip Chin Lift Firming Patch.
Nuh-uh.
I know, so this deal includes 8 jawline masks. They are infused with age-defining ginseng juniper extract and moisturizing hydrogel.
I need this.
Normally, it's $70 for the pack.
Okay.
We have got an 8-pack for $17.99. That's saving 74%. Our last product today is the Extreme Comforts padded foam cushion.
Ooh.
The deal includes 1 seat cushion. Normally, it's $30.
That's not bad.
We've got it for $14.99, so you're saving 50%.
Half off. I gotta be honest, one word, sciatica. If any of you have it, I know a lot of you know people who do. My husband has it. Save yourself with that kind of a price and get yourself some support. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can even scan the QR code on screen to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Thank you so much, Steph. Good stuff. Before we go, we want to give a big shout out to the Boston Celtics. They beat Dallas Mavericks in Game 5 of the NBA Finals last night. This is the 18th national title for Boston, which is the most of any team ever. Way to go, Boston. Way to go, Boston.
Wow. Did you watch the game? You usually watch sports.
I didn't watch the game.
Those are New York accents.
I know, I'm trying to say Park and Harvard. Yeah, way to go, Boston. Duncan.
The best player.
John Basketball.
Jaylen Brown got the MVP.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yes, I was waiting for someone to come back and ask me, but.